Hello there. So in Nier Reincarnation, we have a new series of costumes, and the first costume is here. We have Shadowbound Exile. And the banner in general is probably a skip for most people, but we can take a look at it and possibly make some predictions for this new series. The first thing I'm thinking, and I could be proven wrong in a week's time, but if we're not getting Tower, then we're not getting a new Abyssal, and maybe this is here to kind of fill the gap as kind of the whale bait, the monthly whale bait trap. Because that's kind of what Abyssal are. They're great and everything, but usually it's the better strat to save for nice limited banners. Or, for example, we just had three killer normal pool costumes in a row between Bloody Griff, Lacrima Lavania, and Abstract Yuri. Okay, so now we have Shadowbound, and my guess is that we're getting this instead of Abyssal this month. Because we now have all Tower level 40s, and the question is, when are we going to get those Tower level 50s? Are we ready yet? A lot of people are, but maybe the majority of the player base is not. So maybe they're going to hold off on that. And again, maybe we get it this like next week and I'm proven wrong, but that's just my prediction. Okay, cool. So back to the banner. We have the new Rion here. And he's okay. He's got pretty high HP, really low base attack, especially for current power creep. We have a character skill that buffs both attack and defense. 45 seconds at 30%. And consume 20% current HP. All right. Well, I guess if he's trying to get some caged vigor shenanigans off, that seems to be the theme here, right? Dark weapons, caged vigor. All right. If you're brand new, that means damage based on having low HP. But this is usable at start, so you know, I still couldn't see myself using him in Arena. Usually that's kind of whenever there's a new usable at start character skill, you know, and there's some kind of gimmick we haven't seen, you want to grab it. But here it's just an attack and defense buff. And we already have Summer F66X, who has an attack buff, castable at start, and also Celeb Akeha. And then there's Celeb Demos that has the defense buff, but furthermore has an attack break to the opponent. Now, unless they do more with this defense meta that they've touched on and kind of seem to have abandoned, I don't see this being too useful. The attack buff is just so easy to come by between companions and weapons. And, but like I said, what if they do more with this defense meta and you can come in with Rion and Demos in an arena party and buff the defense, you know, double time. I don't know. I still can't see it being that useful. Then the passives, Void Rush, that increases Rion's Dark Weapon, and then Void Leap, you know, 25% of the whole party, Dark Weapon stats up. And we've talked about this. These are not really desirable passives, and having both of them is kind of crazy. It really makes him a dark specialist, and these aren't that powerful as it is. Now, the Celeb, the most recent Celeb, and also Abstract Yuri have this, you know, self-weapon stat buff, but it's 100%. And that's maybe a little more useful, but okay, so, you know, and then, the third passive, which you can unlock at Awakening 3, which means you pulled him 4 times, of Valiant, which is nice. Usually when it's a passive 3, it's reduced, you know, so there's only 10. The best we've seen is 20 here. Okay, so not thrilled about the costume other than it, you know, just kind of looking cool. But the weapon is very nice. Okay, so this is an incredible dark support weapon. It's going to be great in subjugation or any other, you know, high difficulty content. where you want a nice support weapon. So what can it do? We have basically a dark crush, you know, or imperil, whatever you want to call it. Makes the enemy take more dark damage. And that's a very powerful effect. And let's see, 15% for 30 seconds. All right, the 30 seconds I can get down with. And then a very typical skill here, Party Valiance 30 seconds. You do want to look out for this. There are a lot of weapons that have it, actually. And you want one for every element. And hopefully a few copies, because this is really the easiest way to stack attack buffs on your party. You can even, the term I use, pumping the skill. You come in and you cast only, you know, out of all your skills, you only cast this one, and you wait, and you don't cast anything else, and then you cast this one again. And it gives everyone a stack, and it also prolongs the effect. Keep in mind, too, you know, companions can extend and stack that as well. Anyway, having both of these, for one, having a crush skill on a weapon is pretty rare at this point. So that's really nice. And let's see, Void Boon is always great. A barrier is always appreciated, having more of these barrier weapons for Recollections of Dusk. And so I do like the weapon a lot. I don't think it's worth taking the whole banner to a pity just for that weapon. Okay, we have this fist here. And this is going to be a top tier subjugation sub weapon, maybe even a main hand. It does have a 5-hit here that scales more off of Cage Vigor. It has Void Boon, full 30, and then Cage Vigor, which is dynamic Cage Vigor, which means it increases the lower your HP is. So if you're using a character, you know, like at a what is it? The wave 2, in which one? Versus fire, I believe. You get burnt, and you can put a Caged Vigor character there, and they go all the way down to 1 HP. And you might have to do some resets, but they're going to be doing so much damage. This weapon's going to be great on whoever that character is that takes that hit. All right, so great fist. And then this 3-star greatsword, not bad either. It's got a Void Boon and attack buff, which is pretty typical if you're short on sub-weapons, again, in subjugation. So, seems very subjugation-oriented banner in general. But I'm very excited to see what they do with this series. Maybe the next character is a little more desirable, but I expect that the weapon is always going to be awesome like this. Maybe, you know, we'll see once we see a few of them release, but they usually stick with some kind of theme, and it would be cool if all of them had the same pair of skills. The Valiance and then the Crush. That would be really cool to see. By the way, this weapon looks so cool too. I want it just because it looks so cool. And you can see I threw some YOLOs here, and that's not advisable. So don't be like me, do as I say, not as I do. All right, but there's one big point I want to get to here. For the first time ever, we have Caged Vigor Debris. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. I think this is the first, but we can now predict that on these future Shadowbound costumes that we're going to start seeing debris that's in this category. So maybe more boon debris. Debris, excuse me. We already have element boon debris, but we can probably expect to see bold vigor, pursuit, you know, all these awesome damage multipliers that we love because they get added at the end of the chain of damage calculation. I bet we can start to expect to see those appear on the future Shadowbound costumes. Now, how it measures up to the element boon, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think of that. But I would be very excited for a bold vigor debris for arena snipers. And pursuit is just going to be awesome everywhere. So those are my thoughts on this banner and this new series. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments. Thanks as always for watching, and help me grow this channel by hitting like and subscribe and all that stuff. So much appreciated. I'll see you in the next one.